I'm Carole MacIntyre, and this is my story. I've been married for 30 years. I met my husband in Southern California. We had worked for 3.5 years after we were married before we had kids, and we have 3 children. So we first have Scott, and then we have Todd, and then we have Caitlin. Our life has not been normal, as most parents are able to raise their children. 2 of our children are blind and have gone through kidney failure and kidney transplants. When the kids were little, one of the situations that I encouraged was we all love to sing. We enjoy doing it together as a family. We looked at it as a blessing that we could do it, even in the midst of all the trials we were going through. And so we would take that music and we turned it into a music ministry and sang for retirement homes, sang for other churches, sang for rest homes. And also later in our lives, I drove all 3 kids to audition for American Idol. And they all 3 went through about the first 3 rounds, were passed through, and then finally Scott made it through onto the Hollywood Week round. And I feel like my life was so unexpected, nothing that I had planned. It just seemed like a speeding train was going along that I could not get off, and I didn't even have time to think about, oh, I need to take care of myself, or I need to have, emotional space. There was a moment where my son and I had just completed going through the top 50 of American Idol, and we had just come back to Arizona, and my husband had been taking care of my daughter, and we ended up in the hospital on Christmas Day. And my daughter was not feeling well. She only had 1/3 of her normal hematocrit and hemoglobin in her body. The doctors were trying to figure out what was going on, what was wrong. I remember we were in the hospital on Christmas Day. She was resting with her head in my lap, but our whole family was there. And it was again at that time that I just thought of that verse, Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my victorious right hand." And even though that was one of the saddest Christmas days that we had as a family, it was still one of the best because we knew we were right in the center of God's will. We were together. One of the worst days at the hospital was still one of my best days that I still remember because of God's faithfulness and giving us the energy and the grace to walk through that. I wanted to encourage moms because I found this to be helpful in my own life. If there was one of my favorite things is singing. Another is gardening. And so those were things in my life that I love to do. I love to sneak away out of the house from my 3 kids for 15 minutes just to clip a few rose bushes or clip some branches and get that emotional space, that emotional margin, and get refreshed. My husband and I have been blessed to have 30 years together, and we totally thank God for that every day because He is the reason we're still together. He's the reason that He's given us the grace and the strength to get through all of the parenting, all of the challenges that I had of being a mother of kids with disabilities. And God was so faithful in our lives through so many of our trials to lift us up when we didn't have the strength to lift, we couldn't even lift ourselves up. And He was there carrying us, giving us grace, putting His favor on us, and carrying us through all those difficult times. He gave me beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness, that we might be trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that He might be glorified.